concluding our Impossible series today, as I mentioned. And we've been in a series, for those of you who are new, we do series of messages here at church. And we started 6 Sundays ago, a 7-part series. Today is the 7th Sunday. And we're talking about the miracles that Jesus performed as John wrote in his gospel. So John was very intentional. The Apostle John, he wrote 7 accounts. He said, Jesus performed many more miracles, but I'm going to give you 7. And I'm going to do it on purpose for a reason. So he gave us the reason, and we're on the miracle number 7 now, the last miracle that Jesus performed today we're going to share. But before I get there, I want to ask you a question. What is the most disappointing thing about life? Have you given any thought lately about the most disappointing thing about life? I don't want to bring you down. I just want you to think. If you were to think about your life, your experiences, the things you've been through, what is the most disappointing thing about life? I'm not a mind reader, but I know what some of you are thinking. Some of you are thinking the New York Jets. I'm sorry. I was going to say the Red Sox, but I don't want to get into that fight. You might throw Bibles at me. I don't want to get into that fight. It's a good guess. It counts. But think more broadly. Think across generations, across cultures, across history. Certainly there are things that jump to the top of the list. We can think about injustices, oppression. We can think about slavery. We can think about wars, evil things that have happened in the world. We can look at them and say, that was very, very disappointing. But I think there's one thing we all deal with, we all experience closely, we all wrestle with, and none of us like it. Every single one of us hate it, and we have this aversion to it from our gut. And that thing is death. The most disappointing thing about life is death, is the certainty of death. In fact, there's a whole book in the Bible. If you're new to the scriptures, if you open your Bibles to the book of Ecclesiastes, most of Ecclesiastes is dedicated to the disappointment of death. The author in Ecclesiastes say, everything is meaningless because at the end, we all die. All the toil, all the labor, all the effort, all the love, all the worry, all the striving, all the energy that we put on the comment line in social media trying to set people straight. It always works, everybody. They all, with one last breath, gone. I just turned 43 a couple weeks ago. Don't gasp. Thank you. I know many of you are like, no way. Baby face, baby face. I find myself in that sweet spot in life. When I entered my 40s, I realized that I entered a sweet spot where my kids looked at me and said, Dad, you old. And then my parents entered their 70s, and they said, kid, you're so young. And so I'm in between generations, And when my kids say you're old, I know what they mean. They don't mean like old, like you can't do anything, because I can still throw down, I can still run faster than you. I can do more pull-ups, more push-ups for now. I can still throw down. I can make it happen. So I'm old is more like, I got to listen to you. That's what I hear anyways. I'm old means I don't have to keep up with the trends. I'm going to listen to the music that I like. I'm going to wear what I like. I'm going to eat the food I like. not because I don't care, but because I don't have the need to please anybody else. I'm 40. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's good. If you're in high school, college in the room, maybe you're 20-somethings, let me tell you something. It's weird to get to an age where your friends are getting old, but you're not. If you're 38, 37, you look at your friends and you go like, man, they're aging. Not me, right? I've had people who are in my age group. Sometimes I'll post a picture of 10, 15 years ago, and they'll say, man, look at that young face. And I think, have you looked at yourself in the mirror? You don't even realize. It's weird sometimes to be in that age. It's true. But it is great. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, JD, I was told today was going to be an encouraging message. And all you're saying today is, congratulations, you are not dead yet. There's a point. There's a point to it, because the truth is that the gospel of Jesus is not this distant thing that you have to try so hard to connect to with that elusive, deep part of your soul that you barely get to use, and you got to go to a corner in your house or, do the little crisscross applesauce and kind of silence the world so you can hear that distant, religious, deep voice whispering some kind of self-affirming truism like, all you have to do is believe and everything will be all right. And you go like, wow. That's so wonderful. It doesn't mean a lot, but I'll take it. No. Jesus came to the real world. He dealt with real problems. He looked for the sick so he could help them and heal them. He spoke against injustice. He lifted the oppressed. He encouraged the downcast. He brought solutions to life's problems, the real problems. And he demonstrated the power of God to a world in need in miraculous ways. And he did it with a purpose. He did it on purpose. Not only to address life's maladies, not only to address those issues and those things that people were facing for their sake, but he did it to invite us to a new kind of life. Every single one of us is invited to partake in this new kind of life that he displayed on earth so that we could inherit it with him. It's a great and beautiful purpose. And that's what Jesus did in the seventh miracle we're highlighting today. Jesus addresses the great disappointment. He addresses the last and ultimate disappointment we all face. In this last miracle, John highlights, he addresses death. So let me set the scene for you. Because the way John writes, it's a dramatic progression that takes place in his writing. He starts, if you remember, with the first miracle. If you were here for the first miracle, if you're not, I'm going to give you a short recap. The first miracle of Jesus was a happy miracle. Jesus is at a party and he turns water into wine. Everybody knows that, right? Everybody wishes they were there. No, Jesus wasn't known. He's at a party. His ministry hasn't gained any influence yet. People don't really know what he can do. They don't know he's the Son of God. They don't know. And he's at a party, and it's like the party, somebody gets word that the party is about to end because the wine has run out. Jesus said, no, let's keep it going. Bring me some water. And you might be like, man, I want to go in that kind of party. But if you really think about it, if you have given any thought, you might think, man, that's kind of weird. Maybe a little elitist, right? Think about it. You're the Son of God. You just arrived on the scene with everything that's going on in the world. There's no electricity, no plumbing, okay? Poverty is everywhere. People are suffering. And as your first miracle, what do you choose to do? Make more wine. Does that seem like the first thing to do? Like the first imprint? Sounds like, I don't know, Jesus. So Jesus was saving a wedding, yes. But he wasn't saving that specific wedding. He wasn't saving a random wedding. He was saving a different wedding. A wedding between heaven and earth. He was announcing, I'm the new wine. And wine represents a covenant. I'm the new covenant. I'm the covenant that gets the job done. Up until now, you guys are waiting for the wedding to be, concluded. You guys were waiting for the wedding to happen, the wedding between heaven and earth. Let me tell you something. I'm the new wine, and I'm getting the deal done. And so it was an announcement. This thing is starting now. New wine. And as he began, it's specific. John is very specific here. As Jesus began, from that first miracle, Jesus showed the world again and again that his ways were higher, that his life was greater. He showed again and again that if we follow his way, we get to partake in a new reality. A reality that is not bound to the ways of the world. A reality where the world doesn't win. Haven't you already been in a struggle where you feel like you're fighting against the world and the world seems to win every single time? That's what Jesus came to announce. The world doesn't win. Defeat doesn't have to reign. And even death does not have sovereign power. It's a great announcement. And the more Jesus revealed this new reality, a trend began to happen. The more the establishment, those who were in power said, not good. Not good. His muddling the waters here. Those who were in power, the religious leaders, they were trying to end his work and they were trying to end his life. And so Jesus' life progressed as we saw in the last 6 weeks. And so now, after many miracles, and now Jesus is in vogue, right? He is famous. He is a celebrity, if you will, not in the way that we think of celebrity, but everybody wants to be where he is. Everybody wants to go where Jesus is. Everybody wants to be in his presence. People are worshiping him now. They're calling him king. They're calling him Lord. And this is a big problem for the establishment. They're afraid that Rome is going to come and destroy them. And because of it, they pursue Jesus. They persecute Jesus. And there was an assassination attempt on Jesus' life. They almost stoned him to death. He was able to escape. And he escaped back to the place where everything started, near the Jordan River, back to where he was baptized. And he was staying there for a little bit. Now, while Jesus was staying there, he got word that his dear friend Lazarus was ill. And that was a problem. And so now, Lazarus is hoping. His sisters, Martha and Mary, they were hoping that Jesus could help him. Now listen to this. We can gather from the story that Lazarus, Martha, and Mary, the three siblings, they were people of influence. We can see through the scriptures that they were well known. They hosted large parties in their house. So they had a house big enough to host parties. And it seemed to us, as we're going to see a little later today, that they had the support of influential people in Jerusalem because Lazarus' illness mobilized a lot of people in that region. So when Jesus got word that his friend was sick, he sent word back. He assured them. He said, hey, this sickness will not end in death. This sickness will not end in death. But something strange happened. Because the same Jesus who healed a young boy that was about 25 miles away, if you remember a couple weeks ago we shared that, he did nothing for 2 days. Watch this, John chapter 11, verse 5 and 6. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that Lazarus was ill, he rushed to his help. No. He stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. When Jesus heard that his good friend that he loved was ill, he did absolutely nothing. He just stayed back. It's not like he was missing a birthday party. The friend was dying. And Jesus couldn't do anything. I mean, just send the word, right? They saw him do that before. Just send the word. Send some prayers. Jesus only sent thoughts, no prayers. Just thoughts. This illness will not turn to death. Can you pray about it? No. But maybe Jesus was waiting to make a dramatic entrance, right? Jesus knew what he was doing. Maybe he was waiting for the right moment so he could walk in and say, be healed. And then everybody, oh, amazing. And so there's that hope that Lazarus was going to pull through. He was going to hold. Let's look at the next scripture. John 11:14. Lazarus has died. Shoot. What's going on? Seemed like what Jesus assured them of. Man. And now that Lazarus died, Jesus knew. Jesus is the one who told these are the words of Jesus. Jesus is the one who told his disciples, hey, Lazarus has died. We got to go. We got to go see him. Now? After he died? So Jesus gets to Bethany. Their village was about 2 miles outside of Jerusalem. And I just picture, Jerusalem was Stanford, and their village was like New Canaan. Right? It's 2 miles out, just a walk. But for them back then, it was an important distance, like it was a significant distance because everybody walked everywhere, right? But it took Jesus a few days to get to them because by the time Jesus gets to them, Lazarus had been already dead and buried for 4 days. Dead and buried for 4 days. And so Jesus didn't go to the house because of the circumstances that he was under. He kind of stayed away a little bit in the woods, waiting for them. He sent word that he was there. And Martha came out by herself. She came out to meet Jesus, and Jesus revealed his plan to Martha. Look at what Jesus said, verse 21. Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would have not died. But even now, I know that whatever you ask from God, God will give you. Jesus said to her, your brother will rise again. Martha said to him, I know that he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he die, yet he shall live. And everyone who lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? It's a massive statement. This changes things on a subatomic level. She said to him, yes, Lord. I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who is coming to the world. What a powerful statement. So while they were talking, Mary got word that Jesus was there and decided to join them. When Mary leaves the house, everybody who was in the house, people from Jerusalem, locals, they were all with them. There was a lot of people there, and they thought Mary is going to go weep, and she was going to go grieve at the tomb. So let's follow her. And so Mary comes with all the friends, and they're in procession going toward Jesus. And Scripture says that when Jesus saw Mary from a distance, and everybody with Mary weeping and crying for the death of their brother Lazarus, all of a sudden Jesus was deeply moved, and his heart filled with compassion. And the word even says that he was greatly troubled in his heart, and Jesus himself begins to weep. Jesus wept. And those who were around Mary said, look, he really loved his friend, for he's weeping for his death. So Jesus asked Martha and Mary, take me to the tomb. Take me to the place where you have buried him where he lay. Verse 38, then Jesus, deeply moved again, came to the tomb. It was a cave and the stone lay against it. Jesus said, take away the stone. Martha, the sister of the dead man, the one who just said that she believed, said to him, Lord, by this time there will be an odor, for he has been dead for 4 days. Jesus said to her, did I not tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God? So they took away the stone, and Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I said this on account of the people standing around, that they may believe that you sent me. When he had said these things, he cried out in a loud voice, Lazarus, come out! The man who had died came out, his hands and feet bound with linen strips, and his face wrapped with a cloth. Jesus said to them, unbind him and let him go. What a miracle. Now, this miracle sent shockwaves across Jerusalem because those witnessing were amazed. Of course, we would all be amazed. And many of the witnesses now just began to declare Jesus as king. They believed that he was the Christ. They went back and began to witness that Jesus was the Christ. Others went back and told the Pharisees. And the Pharisees did not like it. So there were two kinds of energy surrounding this event. Those who declared Jesus as Christ and Savior, and those who wanted to kill Jesus and kill Lazarus. I kid you not. They made a plan to kill the man again. The man had just died. Like, nope, got to off you again. Should have stayed in the grave. They began to persecute Lazarus to kill him because they were afraid of Rome and because they were afraid of being deposed from their positions. This miracle was the catalyst for what we're celebrating today. This miracle was the catalyst for Easter because it was because of this miracle that they declared Jesus king on Palm Sunday a week ago. And it was because of this miracle that the Jews in power, the Pharisees, and those in power said, we have to put an end to this. And they killed Jesus on the cross. Today I want to remind you and make emphasis on the fact that Jesus not only rose from the dead, but that he is the resurrection and he is the life. He is the resurrection and the life for every one of us here today. And we need this resurrection. We need this life. We need it. Easter is a celebration. But if we're honest, Easter is a stumbling block, isn't it? Because Jesus didn't give you options. It's about Jesus' resurrection. We sing songs, we read scriptures, and we celebrate and we say, yes, he is risen, forever glorified. But I know there's a little question on the back of your head thinking, did he though? Did Jesus really rose from the dead? Did he really rise from the dead? Can we just take the message and leave this problem to be resolved whenever? Can we take the teachings of Jesus, the love of Jesus, the kindness of Jesus, and leave the resurrection? Do I have to believe in the resurrection? Is this a necessity? Do I have to deal with that? Do I have to open that can of worms? Can't I just live the Christian life and admire Jesus for who he was when he was alive, and maybe he died, maybe he didn't rise again? Is it a necessity to believe that he rose? Could it be just like that he rose figuratively? It means that dead dreams can come alive, and the things that we once believed and don't, they can rise again. Yay. Sure, that's part of the message. What if you have doubts? What if I have doubts? You know, growing up, I would read this, and I thought it was easier to believe in Lazarus' resurrection than to believe in Jesus' resurrection. And some of you might feel that way because there are resurrection accounts in the Old Testament. There are resurrection accounts in the New Testament. There are resurrection accounts outside of the Bible. And we cannot explain it But when we think about Lazarus' resurrection or anybody else's resurrection, the thought is great. Their life was changed. Their life got better. Good for them. But if Jesus rose from the dead, it changes everything. It changes my life. It changes your life. Because if he rose from the dead, then he really is who he said he was. It really hinges on that one event. Because only the Son of God can tell you, hey, I'm going to die and I'm going to come back. I'll be back. I'll be back. The beautiful thing about these miracles we've been sharing is that they show that the burden of belief is not on you alone. Did you know that? Maybe you grew up in a tradition, or maybe you were presented with the gospel saying, believe! If you don't believe, get out of here. You will burn. Right? Ooh. Right? Maybe you were presented with that. The burden of belief is so great, and you have to figure out a way to get out of your intellect, get out of your reasoning, get out of the things that you were brought up in thinking, man, this is really an impossible thing. Am I supposed to believe in an impossible thing to be a Christian? But what we learn through the process of the gospel is that the burden of belief is not on you alone. Time and time again we see in the scriptures that even the disciples, they're like, now they believe. They're like, what? They've been rolling with Jesus for like a year. And now they believed. Like, whoa, okay. You see, you might have been told that all you have to do is believe. Just believe. But it's a hard thing. To believe is a big thing. It's no small thing. And I'm with you. I get it. It's not a small thing to believe. Do I have to believe? Yes, you should. You got to get to the point of belief. Yes. Do I believe that Jesus rose from the dead? With every fiber of my being, I believe. My being? I'm thinking of rice and beans. With every fiber of my being, I believe. But I'm not a proponent of believing in anything you can't question. Am I the pastor? I'm the pastor. And I'm telling you, you should not believe in anything you can't question. You should question. And the beautiful thing about Christianity is that it doesn't sneak into the, back of your head, bypassing your intellect. It doesn't. Jesus doesn't do that because he formed you and fashioned you. God created you with your brain. You're supposed to use your brain when you're putting your faith in Christ. And so that's why Jesus performed these miracles. These miracles were Jesus' way of aiding in our belief. Aiding in our belief. And he still performs miracles today. He still shows himself true today. He still operates in the impossible today. Why? So that we may believe. Yes, he still does it. See, we get mesmerized by the miracles. We think about the miracles. We calculate the miracles. We think, is it possible? Is it impossible? Oh my God, I don't know if this is possible. How did he do it? And if he did it, what was the point of the miracle? The point of the miracle was not actually the miracle itself. The point of the miracle was your heart, was my heart. The point of the miracle is that we would come to believe. It was to help us believe because it is a big thing to believe in Jesus. So he brought Lazarus back from the dead so that his name could be glorified. That's why he said, glorify your son. Was he saying this is really about me, y'all? No, he's saying this is about you and your heart, realizing that God has sent his son into the world and that heaven has come down to the world and that God can do the impossible. And if you've been on the receiving end of God doing the impossible in your life, you know that he did it. Did he do it because he loves you? Yes. Did he do it because he wants to make your life better? Yes. But he did it so that others can see your life and say, yes, I believe that God did the impossible in your life. Look at what he has done. Yes. He did it to help us believe. God knows that believing is the big step for our earthbound mind. So Jesus brings heaven to earth so that we might believe. He healed you so that you would believe. He restored you so that you would have believed. And he did those things back then so that we would believe. He walked on water so that we would believe. It wasn't to show him that he's so light. He died and rose again so that we would believe. Is it incredible? Yeah. Is it impossible? You bet it's impossible. That's kind of the point. Do you want the divine to come to earth and do the possible things? Jesus can bench 300 pounds. So can Dante. Way to go, Jesus. The point is that he would do the impossible. But this is what we need to understand. Sometimes we see the art and we're so far removed from Easter, from Resurrection Sunday, that we think it's all about Jesus. It is all about Jesus. Let me make that clear. But we think that Jesus did it for himself. Let me break it to you. Jesus didn't have to die on a cross to be the Son of God. Resurrection Sunday didn't upgrade his life. He didn't become any more godly because of the cross and the resurrection. It wasn't for him. Did you know that? He didn't die for him. Some might think that the crucifixion elevated Jesus. It didn't make him better. Jesus died and rose again for us. It was for us, to show us that he was the God all along, to show us the power of God. He died for me. He died for my sins. He died for my jealousy, for my apathy. He died for my lust. He died so that my sense of superiority, my pride, my junk that separates me from God could be nailed on the cross. That's why he died. And by doing that, he could look at me and say to the Father, Father, forgive him. Forgive him. He died for you. For the thing that you're fighting against right now. That's why he died. So that part of yourself that you hate. You know, we all have the part of ourselves that we hate. The part of ourselves that we don't want to live with. And you know what the world's solution is for you? Embrace it. Make it your own. Own it. The world says that because the world has no solution for it. That's the world tells you. Oh, if you have those urges, just go ahead and do it. You were born this way. We were born in sin. It doesn't mean that we should live in it. And so Jesus died for it. That's why Jesus died for it. Jesus died for our arrogance. And maybe some of you, you know you deal with it. And you know it's bad. And you've been trying to get rid of it, but Jesus died for our sexual lust. Some of you, you deal with it all. You've been dealing with it, and maybe it became a compulsion. Some of the other things that you deal with, and you deal with it all the time, and you want to get rid of it. All that stuff that the world tells you that you should just embrace. And you don't have power to get rid of it. But if you could, you would kill that thing. That's what the cross is for. So that part of you may die. And that you may be made alive again in Christ. That's why Jesus went to the cross. For you and for me, not for himself. He didn't have to die for himself. He didn't have to rise again to be the Son of God. Case in point, he resurrected Lazarus because he was already the resurrection before he rose again. Jesus killed all of those things on the cross. Not only that, he took care of the ultimate disappointment. On the cross, Jesus took care of death. And the receipt is Resurrection Sunday. Because he rose back from the dead saying, death has no longer dominion over you. The things that kill you, I'm going to take care of that. But guess what? I'm going to also take care of the ultimate thing that kills you. Death itself. I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he die, yet he shall live. Yes. Friends, it's a big step to believe. And I want to talk to some of you for the next minute about the actual first step, because if you are in that place where believing is difficult and you don't really believe that Jesus rose from the dead, you're in the right place. You should be here, struggling and wrestling with it. But did you know that the first step is not to believe? Should we believe? Sure. We should walk toward a belief. But did you know that the first step is not to believe? As important as believing is not the first step. Did you know what's the actual first step? It's an actual step. Because Jesus' first invitation was not believe me. His first invitation was follow me. That's a different mindset. Follow me is a different mindset. And Tim, if you're available, you can join me now. Follow me. Follow me. Believers and unbelievers, follow me. Theists and atheists, follow me. Skeptics, follow me. Sinners, follow me. People who think that they are better than other people and the people who actually need God, follow me. I love that Jesus said, I am the way. I am the truth. I am the life. You know, when he said, I am the way, it's not an attack on other religions. Sometimes, that is used like, he says the way, and if you're not in Jesus' way, you are wrong. I get the heart. But that's not what Jesus was declaring. Because it's not about other religions. It's really not. Jesus is not competing for market share, okay? He's not trying to get market share. He already owns every cattle on every hill. Jesus was being factual. He's saying, hey, I'm the way. I'm not a form of belief. I'm the way. Get it? That implies motion. That means that if you follow me, you're going to live life how it's meant to live. It's a pathway. And the more you follow him, the more you let go of your old ways. The more you follow him, the more you let go of your old nature. The more you follow him, the more you're changed. It's not about other religions. Jesus is saying, if you follow me, if you follow my way of living, you will experience heaven on earth. God will extend the impossible to you. What was not possible on earth because of human limitations will be possible. And as you follow him, he will do the impossible. As you follow him, he will help you believe. Believe will come. And so that's how the death and resurrection of Jesus changed the world. How did he do it? Because generations and generations were compelled to follow him. And here we are, 2,000 years later, still following him. Still following Jesus. Because when we follow Jesus, our world changes, our heart changes. We live in an age where a lot of people are preoccupied with politics. They're preoccupied with government and things of this world. Because they think that's the solution. That's their last hope. But you got to know that a system is only as good as the people in it. If you lead a company or if you have employees, you know this. Your company is only as good as the people in it. Your marriage is only as good as the people in it. You can have a wonderful system and you can put values on the wall of your house, but if you don't live it, it starts with you and it starts with me. That's why Jesus chose power over sin and death rather than power over government to redeem the world. You get it? Like he chose power over sin and death on a personal level. Because only Jesus can kill the thing that's killing you. Only Jesus can defeat death and sin. Only Jesus can reveal to you the power of God and the power of resurrection. Only Jesus. I cannot make you believe in the resurrection. I can't. No human being can. But I promise you this. When you follow Jesus with all your heart, when you follow him with all your mind, with all your soul, He will lead you to faith. And He will lead you to a place of belief. And you will come to believe. It'll make sense to you. Because He will work the impossible in your life. So my invitation today is for those of you who have not made the decision to follow Him yet, to make the decision to follow Him today. And those of us who have already made the decision to follow Him, be reminded that that's a daily decision. Listen, I grew up in a family of ministers. I am a minister. I've been pastor in this church for 10 years. And every single week I have to decide to follow Jesus because the world pulls me away. The world pulls you away. And to follow Jesus is a daily decision. And I want to invite you to do that today because it starts with that one step. Do you receive it this morning? Yes. Amen.